Tonight, WWE presents a brand new episode of WWE Monday Night Raw, live exclusively streaming on Netflix worldwide from the Rio Rancho Event Center in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We've got a brand new WWE World Heavyweight Champion coming out of Saturday night's main event, and now all eyes are turning to WWE Survivor Series and War Games later on this month. With that being said, does Paul Triple H Levesque and his WWE creative team have some surprises up their sleeves? Well, we're going to be possibly seeing some tonight live on Raw. We're going to let you know 5 possible major surprises that could take place tonight live, Raw on Netflix. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And tonight is a brand new episode of WWE Monday Night Raw. It's streaming live on Netflix around the world, emanating from the Rio Rancho Event Center in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And of course, we had Saturday night's main event on Peacock over the weekend, and there were some pretty newsworthy stories coming out of that show. And now we're turning our attention to WWE Survivor Series, War Games, and more later on in the month of November, taking place in San Diego, California. So what does WWE have up their sleeve? What do they have planned? Well, we're going to let you know 5 possible major surprises that could be happening tonight live on Raw from Albuquerque, New Mexico, beginning with the brand new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Yes, if you watched Saturday night's main event over the weekend, you would have seen that we have a brand new World Champion. We knew, frankly, we were going to be getting a brand new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Seth Rollins had to vacate the title after suffering his shoulder injury against Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel Perth. In storyline, he was then attacked by the members of The Vision, his own faction, Bron Breakker, Big Bronson Reed, Paul Heyman turning on him, and that meant that the title was vacant, so we're going to be getting a new champion. CM Punk was already the number 1 contender anyway, but now he's holding the belt. There's no denying him the title anymore. CM Punk once again has the hardware to say that he is the best in the world. Fresh off his victory over Jey Uso at Saturday night's main event, the new World Heavyweight Champion will be in Albuquerque, New Mexico tonight for Monday Night Raw. It'll be Punk's first appearance on WWE's flagship show with a world title around his waist in well over a decade, of course. CM Punk did technically win the World Heavyweight Championship back at SummerSlam by defeating Gunther in the main event of SummerSlam Saturday, although he didn't hold the title for very long, did he? As Seth Rollins was the one to have the ruse of the century, prove that he had a fake knee injury and cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase, and he then beat Punk, so Punk only held the title for a couple of minutes, but now he's the world champion once more, and he'll actually be appearing on WWE television with the title around his waist. The first time he'll be on Raw as a world champion since, well, it would have been like the Royal Rumble Go Home episode of Raw back in 2013, I think it was. So, yeah, a long time, about 12 years, or over 12 years since Punk's appeared on television. But the question is, what's next for him? Now that you've won the World Heavyweight Championship, as they say, sometimes the money's in the chase, or is it in defending it? Sometimes the money's usually in the chase, but Punk's been a world champion before for long periods of time, as a heel and as a babyface, and it's going to be interesting to see who Punk's going to feud with. Is it going to be the case of Punk really just being a bit of a transitional champion to get the championship onto Bron Breakker, who's been highlighted as a future World Heavyweight Champion? Some were saying after Rollins had to vacate the title, just put the title on Bron Breakker straight away, but reports suggested that maybe WWE had a bit of a grander plan or a bigger plan set in stone for when they want to put the championship on what is seemingly the crown jewel of the Vision moving forward. If it's not going to be Bron Breakker, is Bronson Reed going to be Punk's first challenger? Is it going to be LA Knight? Is Jey Uso not done when it comes to the World Heavyweight Championship? And maybe have we seen signs of a possible heel turn for main event Jey? Of course, we did see after Saturday night's main event, he took to social media. He looked pretty distraught, didn't he? And maybe even put a middle finger up to those that were booing him in Salt Lake City, Utah. So maybe we could see Jey Uso continue to chase the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, we might see a situation when it pertains to Punk, that maybe at the next WWE PLE, that being Survivor Series, maybe Punk isn't even defending the World Heavyweight Championship. There had been reports and rumors suggesting that CM Punk and Roman Reigns were going to come together and lead a possible team to face off against the Vision at War Games, at Survivor Series. But has that changed because of Seth Rollins' injury? Reports suggested that it hasn't. So I guess we're going to find out tonight on Raw if Punk's going to be defending his world title at Survivor Series or if he's going to be involved in War Games at Survivor Series. And if he's not defending his World Heavyweight Championship at Survivor Series, maybe they throw a curveball and a surprise and say, actually, you know what? First main event, first night of Monday Night Raw with CM Punk as world champion. we'll put Punk in the main event and have him defend the World Championship again. Maybe it's against Jey Uso once more. Maybe this is where Jey Uso snaps or the Vision get involved and it sets up War Games for Survivor Series later on in the month. But I think we're going to find out indeed what's next for CM Punk live tonight on Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Now, before I move on to the next number on this countdown list, a reminder, this video is brought to you in collaboration with all of our great affiliates. That includes NordVPN. You can see right there in the sidebar, if you scan that QR code, you can get up to 77% off plus 3 months extra. All you have to do is scan the QR code or visit that custom link there. That's nordvpn.com/WN365. Once again, that's nordvpn.com/WN365. And tonight's Monday Night Raw airs on Netflix around the world. But depending on your international location, you might say, actually, no, it doesn't for me still. And also, Survivor Series. You mentioned Survivor Series. How can I watch that? Well, if you're in the United States, you're going to have to watch it on ESPN. And then tomorrow when you watch NXT, you're going to have to watch that on the CW. And Friday, when you watch SmackDown, you're going to have to watch that on USA Network. Or on Saturday night's main event that just happened, you had to watch that on Peacock. Over here in the UK, no, that's not the case for us. We get all, that's right, all of our WWE programming through one Netflix subscription. Plus, Saturday night's main event, we got that for free on YouTube, and we will get it for free on YouTube next month when it's John Cena's retirement match. And you can too. All you have to do, get a VPN, change your location to an international territory that supports having WWE in their Netflix or watching Saturday night's main event for free on YouTube, like here in the UK. You save yourself some money, and you can support this channel in the process. Your support is really much appreciated. Right, let's move on. And speaking of John Cena's retirement match, tonight maybe on Raw, are we going to find out the bracket for what it's going to be for John Cena's final match? Because a major announcement was made, wasn't it, Saturday during Saturday night's main event? The topic of John Cena's final opponent has been a really heavily discussed topic ever since John Cena announced that 2025 would serve as his retirement year, and we'd be getting a string of last time ever matches and final stops in certain cities. And ever since we knew that this was going to be the final year before he hung up his boots as a professional wrestler, it was just a question of, well, okay, who's Cena going to face in this final match? Well, during Saturday night's main event, John Cena gave fans some insight as to how his final opponent is going to be decided. In a video package, Cena announced that a 16-man tournament, that's a big tournament, a 16-man tournament would be taking place starting on not tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw, must be stressed, next Monday's episode of Raw. It's taking place in Boston, Massachusetts. Cena's going to be there at the TD Garden on November 10th, with the winner being the one to step up and face him at Saturday night's main event next month in Washington, D.C. Now, he did note that names from Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and perhaps names from outside of the company will be involved, which has led, of course, to a ton of speculation about Edge and others, but the likelihood is probably like Joe Hendry, some TNA names, maybe some AAA names were possibly going to be involved. Now, during the video package, current WWE superstars like Gunther, Dominic Mysterio, Penta, Carmelo Hayes, Bronson Reed, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Rusev, Solo Sikoa, The Miz, and Sheamus, they were all shown as part of this video package. Of course, it's not starting on tonight's episode of Raw. It's starting next week. But I think possibly with a tournament that big, 16-man tournament, I think you possibly see the brackets get revealed, and maybe you have a situation where the brackets are partially revealed. So those WWE superstars that were just mentioned there, we see their names, and maybe the surprises from the names outside of WWE, AAA names, TNA names, or maybe even, who knows how far this is going to go, and the speculation, of course, will be abound, but maybe they're left as question marks. But I would have hoped, and I would think tonight on Raw, we're probably going to get more details, just who's involved. We already kind of know, but maybe we'll see the brackets and we can actually start to, I guess, put our different predictions as to who's going to have the easiest route to the final, what the final is going to be, what the semi-final is going to be, and what have you. So I think we'll find out more details on that tonight live on Raw on Netflix. Next up, the World Tag Team Championships. Yes, we've got title matches on tonight's episode of WWE Monday Night Raw because we've got a World Tag Team title rematch. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee stunned the Judgment Day when they knocked off Finn Balor and Jaden McDonough 2 weeks ago to capture the WWE World Tag Team Championships. Now, it was just the second title defense for Finn Balor and McDonough, which has kind of been a bit of a recurring theme. They've been tag team champions twice, and every time they're the tag champions, they barely defend the titles. And And whenever they've dropped the title, it's quite hilarious because, again, it's just like their second title defense. But they're going to get their shot at redemption when they challenge Styles and Dragon Lee tonight in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I would think, considering they just won the bouts, they're not going to drop them anytime soon, unless it was a case of, we want to see, AJ Styles or maybe even Dragon Lee. One of them turns heel, and it's a bit similar to sort of the Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria scenario at WrestleMania, then the Raw after WrestleMania. If you remember earlier this year, Lynch and Valkyria won the women's tag team titles from the Judgment Day at WrestleMania. Then the following night on Raw, they lost the titles back to the Judgment Day, and then Becky Lynch turned on her tag team partner Lyra Valkyria, and it started this heel run for her that she's had ever since she really returned to WWE at WrestleMania. So unless they're looking to repeat that angle, which I can't really see why they would want to do that right now. Of course, we know Styles is going to be retiring next year, and there's a lot of support behind him after his match against Cena. Dragon Lee, I think WWE are looking to spotlight more. There have been reports saying that those internally within WWE are trying to sort of suggest we need to lock him down to a new contract because his contract's going to be coming up soon and he'll have interest elsewhere. And maybe this is WWE and AJ Styles looking to elevate someone by having him as a tag team partner and champion, like Styles tried to do with Omos previously. So I think we have Styles and Lee retain their tag team titles here. I don't think the Judgment Day win it back unless there's some kind of big angle. But when it comes to the tag team title pitch from Raw, it is a bit directionless. One thing you can say about SmackDown, for all the bad bookings that they have had over the last sort of 12 months, is that they do have a good tag team title picture and have had good tag team title matches and a tag team title scene. Of course, they had that TLC match at SummerSlam, didn't they, over the summer? And you just don't really get that from the booking on Raw. So even though they're a bit of a makeshift tag team, I expect Dragon Lee and AJ Styles to retain their World Tag Team Championships tonight on Netflix. Next up, speaking of tag team matches, we have Stephanie Vaquer teaming up with a WWE Hall of Famer in Nikki Bella. Roxanne Perez scored arguably the biggest win of her main roster career when she defeated WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella last week. The Prodigy and Raquel Rodriguez then kept up the attack after the match was over until Women's World Champion Stephanie Vaquer ran down to make the save, setting up tonight's tag team match. I think we probably see a situation whereby the Women's World Champion and the Hall of Famer, maybe they defeat the Judgment Day this evening, or maybe there's a scenario once again Nikki Bella loses. I think the fact that Nikki Bella and Vaquer are hugging it out there and they're trying to sort of show respect, and I know that Nikki Bella has name dropped Vaquer a couple of times. This to me seems set up for a turn. This for me seems set up for a turn, and maybe Nikki Bella's going to turn on Stephanie Vaquer and she's going to challenge her for the Women's World Championship, possibly at Survivor Series. Now, I know when you think about Survivor Series, on the horizon, you do have to think about War Games matches. As I mentioned earlier on about the Punk and Reigns and Vision possible War Games match, there will be a women's War Games match because there's always a men's one and a women's one. I guess it just depends what they want to do in terms of brands, because if you've got the men's War Games match likely featuring, Raw superstars, then maybe you would have the women's War Games match feature SmackDown superstars. Not that the brand split, again, really means all that much. So you could still have both of these superstars be involved in the War Games match, even if the War Games match was on the SmackDown side of things. But I feel like maybe we could see a case of maybe a Team Jade Cargill versus Team Tiffany Stratton. Maybe that might be the Women's War Games match. And, you have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss for the baby faces. You've got heels on SmackDown as well. So I think maybe that's the direction that they could be going in for that. So that then says that I think that Bella, who's going to be frustrated that, she's come back to WWE and she hasn't won matches. Of course, she lost against Becky Lynch at Clash in Paris, and the reaction online certainly hasn't been necessarily favourable, saying that Nikki Bella, she can't really work and she's not up to the level of these modern WWE female superstars. So maybe she turns on Vaquer and goes after the Women's World Championship, even though I don't think Vaquer drops it to Nikki Bella. And finally, Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Somehow, someway, like the cockroach he is, Dirty Dom continues to survive, doesn't he? And that's exactly what he did coming out of Saturday night's main event. Dirty Dom is miraculously still the men's Intercontinental Champion after he defeated both Rusev and Penta at Saturday night's main event over the weekend. And the Judgment Day could add possibly to the, of course, Clubhouse Trophy case later on in the evening when, as I mentioned, JD McDonough and Finn Balor get their rematch for the World Tag Team Championships. But when it comes to Dirty Dom, we're going to find out seemingly what's next for him. He seemingly had been been advertised to be in that tournament to crown John Cena's final opponent at Saturday night's main event. It doesn't look like he's going to win that one. I still think, my prediction is anyway, that I think Gunther wins that tournament and he's going to be Cena's final opponent. All the reports would suggest that. But when it comes to Dirty Dom, he might not be Cena's final opponent, but he just may be his penultimate one, because reports have stated that Survivor Series, it's going to be Dirty Dominic Mysterio defending his Intercontinental Championship against John Cena. Cena going after the one championship he's never won in his WWE career, that being the WWE Intercontinental title. He's been World Heavyweight Champion. He's been WWE Champion. He's been United States Champion. He's been Tag Team Champion, but he's never been Intercontinental Champion. So maybe we get Dirty Dom versus Cena at Survivor Series. He wins that, and then maybe he faces Gunther, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history, to boot as well. That would make quite a bit of sense, wouldn't it? So if that is the case, maybe tonight we find out that Dom's going to be in the tournament, or maybe does Dom say, no, I'm not going to be in the tournament, but what I will do is I'll give Cena a shot at this Intercontinental title, something he's never won before, have it at Survivor Series. And Cena, you're going to be on Raw next week. You can accept or reject my challenge then. So I think maybe this evening we get Dom putting out the challenge, or maybe Cena does via a video package. We'll have to wait and see what I did there. But there you go, guys. There are 5 possible major surprises that could take place tonight, live on Monday Night Raw, live on Netflix. Let me know your opinions, your thoughts, your hot takes, as always, in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.